want to go in and discard it. You want to get it out of your home and get it out of your presence, knowing fully well what they mean.
That's right.
All right. Now, once again, excuse me, the 18th century expressed love in highly symbolic forms in jewelry. The 18th century was rich in symbolism, so other images common to the average 18th century person were appearing along with these individual expressions of love in the form of the witch's heart. So that means they had the witch's heart along with other stuff, and this is why I'm persuaded where you get charm bracelets from as well. You think about a charm. A charm. What is a charm? A lucky charm. It's just like a talisman. And so they began to basically connect it with other forms of these so-called symbols. And these symbols were supposed to be of endearment, but that was later on. The root of it was, once again, talisman, protection, immortality, and sexuality. Now, among them were the flaming heart, and this was a symbol of marital love. And the crown, a symbol of loyalty. So whenever you saw a heart with a crown, it meant loyalty. So let's look at it in this manner. Whenever you saw the crown on the witch's heart, it meant they were going to be loyal to that what they understood. Are y'all following?
Yes.
Once again, very important for us to understand. Now, the most common example of a witch's heart can be found with crowns to signify loyalty. Many were often made of garnet, themselves a symbol of love and affection. These crowned witches' hearts were seen as far back as the 17th century, but became truly plentiful in the Georgian period. Once again, it's important that we understand we were not supposed to learn the ways of those that are around us. And yet, we find that our ancestors and forefathers not only were walking in disobedience, doing everything else, but they were also picking up ways that were not kosher and that were not acceptable unto our Yahuwah. So you have to understand, no matter how long you've used it, no matter how long or how attached you've gotten to the symbol, no matter how many times you've used it and people have gotten accustomed to you using it, it has to come to a place in our lives where we say enough is enough, and I'm not going to do that because I know it's not giving Yahuwah any esteem, and I know that it is to esteem and uphold these type of lifestyles that people held that were not our people. Are you following me?
Yes.
They looked at them as it as a talisman, a symbol of protection to ward off evil spirits. Are y'all following me?
Yes.
And later on, it evolved to a symbol of endearment. Now, the witch's heart came to mean that the wearer had bewitched the giver. Often the double heart came to signify a committed relationship. It is an interesting Georgian take on a centuries-old tradition. Once again, look what it says. The witch's heart came to mean that the wearer had bewitched the giver. In other words, you basically have taken influence over this person, and now they give you this heart. Now watch this, with the crown on it, meaning that now they're going to be loyal to you. Once again, I said it about 2 weeks ago in this class. During that time of what we call St. Valentine's Day, also a time of Lupercalia, is a time where you find more people breaking up and more people committing adultery, fornication, and all these things that go with it. Why? Because this sets the atmosphere for these things to go on. You find people getting together. You find that it is a time that people try to make up for the wrong they've done. And still, even with that, it just sometimes seemed like it made it worse. So once again, you have to understand when you're using this as a means to make up and to fix what it helped to destroy, it's not going to work. That's like trying to use a hammer to fix what you've already used the hammer to destroy. It doesn't work. So once again, it's important that we understand these that were used as endearment were the original foundational bringing forth of it was for protection. And it was a symbol of immortality and sexuality. We even saw that when people did these things, those symbols were used to seduce people. So once again, during that time, what do they give people? Hearts. They give them chocolate hearts. They give them, and people that don't like chocolate, they have all kinds. They have cake hearts. They have cookie hearts. So it's almost like take your pick. So you have to understand this is why this was created. They fully well knew, but the enemy saw another way to utilize it and to use it to snare people. So while you're thinking it's used for endearment and that it is used for affection, the root of it is that it's a talisman and it's used for protection. And also the symbol of it is immortality and sexuality. And this is why people be going crazy, wilding out, and acting like they have no kind of common sense. Once again, very important that we understand, and I said it, I'll say it again. These are the type of things that we need to get out of our homes. We wonder why we have issues and we wonder why certain things are happening. Sometimes it is because of the idols and the symbols that we have brought into our home, thinking that it's okay. Now, once again, when we were in Christianity, there were things we did because we saw other people do it. But now that we know these things are not right, it's time to make the switch and it's time to remove those things. If you have one that is gold, have it melted down and keep the gold. Have it melted into Enoch, what's called ingots. Can I say again? Ingots. Or have it shaped in coins, gold coins. Or you can even have it made in the pellets. All you want is to get the gold. Right. If it's silver, you can do the same thing. You can have it melted in pellets. If it's diamonds, see if you can get it reshaped. If it's glass, break it and discard it because glass is invaluable. It's not valuable at all. But diamonds. Someone may say, but I was given something like this from my great grandmama and it was passed down as a child. We have to understand the reason they gave it to you was because it was a talisman for protection. Right. And if you keep it and give it, all you're doing is passing that same history and that same abominable practice down to your children. So you got to stop it because it's not of Yahuwah. So it's important that we understand these things. Some say, well, why wrote him on this? Because you have to understand when Yahusha comes, he's coming back for us as a people without all this stuff in our lives. And it's the small foxes that spoil the vine. It's these things right here that we consider small that are great and they are big because of what they lead to and because their origin. That's right. We don't want to have things in our home and we're saying Yahuwah, you are welcome here. Right. And then we have other things that are in our home that would say otherwise. Right. Because once again, a talisman has a spirit attached to it. That's right. So you have to understand Yahuwah is not going to come in to a place and share it with anything. That's right. That's right. So it's important that we understand that we get these things out of our home. Now, gradually, the cleft at the center top of the heart became more pronounced, and the tilt that was once so prevalent straightened out. It was still common in the Victorian period to see the vestige of the witch's heart pinned to a woman's clothes over her own heart. Once again, this is why we see these things. And at one time, I like brooches. Mm-hmm. I do. I like brooches, but I remember watching and seeing when the ladies would wear the scarves and they put the brooches on, you would see them put them over their heart, and you would see a lot of women with the heart brooches on. Right. Most of the time, I would say, I believe that people already knew, and then some people really didn't know. But once again, they understood the concept of it. And so once again, when we have come to understand this is not the way we're supposed to do. Remember, you shall not go after the power of the people which are round about you. And someone would say, well, how does that go after you? How are you going after those powers? When you do as they do, you understand that it is connected. Are you following me? It's connected to that power. And if it's connected to that power, then it is going to basically summons that power. And you cannot, once again, you cannot serve two masters. You can only serve one. So it's important that we deal with these things. Now, eventually the heart shape went through its many permutations in centuries past to become what we see today. Witches' hearts show up at auctions and at some higher-end antique jewelry galleries. But once in a while, you can still see the turn up of someone's finger, someone's finger. And I've seen this one on a person's finger. It is the heart, and it's the crown on it, and you would think, oh man, that thing looks like it's that ain't real. Those are real diamonds, and that's a ruby, and that's a crown. And when you ever see people with that, you know that's an heirloom. It's been passed down. Are you following me?
Yes.
It's an heirloom. This is the princess, and it says, this is the ring that Princess Diana's brother, Charles Spencer, gave his wife, or his first Isha, Victoria Lockwood, his wife. Notice the pear-shaped ruby and diamond instead of heart-shaped stones, harkening back to an earlier time in history. The crown of loyalty at the top still reigns supreme, letting all of us in the know recognize this as a witch's heart. In other words, they're not afraid to sport their jewelry because they know what it means. Now, I'm hoping that you'll be able to see this and it doesn't freeze up. Now, once again, these are diamonds, and this is a ruby's heart. But look at how they look. They look like pears. That's the original. That's what it looks like. So once again, even if you have a stone of that caliber or even that shape, you have to be careful of what category it fits in.
Right.
If it's not a teardrop, then you have to really ask yourself, is it the original heart? Once again, loyalty, and it is the witch's heart. Now, this is a century-long journey to become the prominent symbol of love in the 21st century. You see how it took in the course it went through and how it went through the exchanging of shape, but yet it still has its roots and its meaning in this, but yet people still use it as a symbol of love, and it's really not a symbol of love. Very important for us to understand that. And even it's on headstone. So once again, you have to understand the concept of it. We don't want to follow in that, and we don't want to find ourselves swaying into that, because once again, we understand what its origin is. Its origin is immortality, or immortality and sexuality. Then it comes back, and you see that it is a talisman for protection. So if you got this on, you got all kind of stuff going on, or all kind of stuff that's coming at you at one time. And so once again, you see that this is what they push and this is what they promote as endearment. It is not, once again, it is not. And I would advise you that if you have them, and if it's real gold, have them melted down. If it's gold and diamonds, and you still can have it melted down because you can have the diamonds taken out. But what you want to do is you want to discard the symbol. You don't want that symbol.
That's right.
All right. Hinduism and the heart. Hinduism is one of the oldest religions in the world, and the culture of its main followers run deep. Like many of its European counterparts, the heart symbol is magnified through religious art and nature. The heart can be seen on many Hindu idols that are both carved and drawn. As well, the heart is reverenced through nature, while the religion's beloved lotus flower is seen as a holy deity of nature and form. The lotus flower pad. The most relevant and prominent sightings of the heart symbol can be found in the pads of the lotus flower. This flower is reverenced in Hindu culture as a symbol of purity, sanctification, beauty, prosperity, and of course, fertility. The flower's pad is heart-shaped and bears the almost direct resemblance of the lily's pad. The lotus flower is usually always depicted in Hindu art and figurines as being a throne for gods and goddesses. Once again, we don't want all this stuff.
That's right.
If you truly are a believer in truth, you don't want any of that stuff in there. Now, somebody would say, but if that's what they depict of it, how is it wrong? It is wrong because we don't want our uprightness to be evil spoken of.
Right. That's right.
You don't want to be sporting something and it's not right. All right. In many Hindu arts, the crowns, gowns, and temple designs are often detailed with upside-down heart shapes. Such designs can be seen in the crowns of Vishnu, Lakshmi, Shiva, Lord Sri Rama, I think this is Pansut, Hawuma, and Jagannath. Shiva is pictured in a family portrait with his said wife, Parvati, and children. On Parvati's crown, an upside heart-shaped symbol appears midsection on the right side, and this is Lorne Parsum Hamun, dons a golden crown with a heart-shaped symbol above the trident symbol of his head. They got all kind of symbols on this thing. And a gold rod with visibly heart-shaped symbols wrapped around his head. Below left is Lord Ganesha, the child of Shiva and Parvati. Can be seen with the same symbols on his crown and on the arms of his chair. Below right are Jagannath, said to be the god of the universe, is pictured with his wife, an eagle carrier, who both wear a gold heart-shaped bullock around their neck. Now, I'm going to show you these 4 pictures. I'm hoping that we'll be able to see. We have to probably see them, show them 2 at a time. These things look horrible. They do. But once again, look at them. This thing here looks like a woman. And the children and the little girl looks like an elephant. Let's look at these 2 right here. Now, once again, why am I showing these? Because this is where this is depicted on, the hearts are shown on what? These are deities. Mm-hmm. These are idols. And they have a whole lot of other symbols on it. And look at their children. Their daughters depicted as an elephant or a little girl with a trunk. And then you see the other one over there, look like a monkey about the face with the golden censer. And look at the hand. Now, I'm sure many have seen that on palm readers, billboards, and you even see it in the Jewish community. It's very important that we stay away from those symbols. All right, now I'm going to show you the bottom one. Even how they sit. Like I said, you have to be careful of all this. And if you notice, even the so-called men in here have that feminine look about them. They look like women with men bodies. Once again, this is an abomination, and these are idols. These are gods. Are y'all following me? Yes. This is why it's ever important that you understand that when we say we do not say God, it is because who are you referring to? Because those are considered gods. It is a title. Once again, those are the symbols. And if you look carefully, you can see where the heart symbol is. And they adorn themselves with these hearts. That's what they do. So once again, we are not supposed to use these symbols as endearment. We're not supposed to use them for affection. It is not supposed to be so. Once again, when we didn't know any better, we did it. But now that we do know better, we do better. I'll just see it better. Are y'all following me?
Yes.
Once again, all this stuff is symbolism. All this witchcraft and even the way this thing is sitting. That's why whenever you sit, if we sit in Indian style or we sit with our legs folded, you're supposed to sit with your leg folded in the right way, not like this. All that is symbolism. Mm-hmm. Yoga, all of that. You have to understand, all that is connected to a deity. And I know people say, but you know, yoga is a way to to release oneself. Yoga is a state of peace. No, it's not. Whenever you do, once again, symbolism, hand movements, hand gestures, leg gestures, those are gestures. They have a root. They have a beginning. And if you don't know where they come from, it's best not to do it, because you don't know what deity you are esteeming. You don't know what deity you are worshiping. And once again, because we understand that when things happen, what do? You normally just go and grab stuff because we see other people doing it and we think, well, it worked for them, maybe it'll work for us. So the first thing a person does is grab a heart, you know, and say, well, I'm giving you my heart. Well, the best way to show a person you're giving them your heart is just be loyal, be committed, be dedicated, be trustworthy. That's how you do that, because once again, it's symbolism. And you don't want to find yourself in that. And then they put it on children. So once again, when you wear these things, that is what you are basically promoting. You're promoting that. I saw a meme on today, or a post, and it had me kind of, I don't want to say baffled, but I didn't even know what to say to it, because I'm like, these ox on here, they constantly put up memes talking about these loose, untempered young ladies that are not Hebrews, but yet they promote their pictures and the things they're doing. I didn't even know what to say, because I'm like, you're supposed to be bringing people in the truth. And if I'm correcting you, does not mean that I have to put up what I'm trying to bring correction to, especially when somebody's got half of their rear hanging out. You have to understand, you see that. Yeah. And you're not going to tell me that that doesn't bother you, or that this is your way of saying, well, I'm dealing with it. But you ain't got to put everybody else in that spotlight with you, because everybody else doesn't want to see that. And you say you don't like this, but why are you promoting it? Because somebody will turn right around, look them up, and continue to promote the video or their picture. Right. I'm like, common sense says blot it out, black it out, stop whiting it out. One thing people want to know, we're going to white it out, and then turn right around and open it up and show it. Black it out. That's right. You black it out, you ain't bringing it back. And stop promoting these things. Once again, we wear these symbols and we promote its function. We promote its purpose. Some of us unknowingly, and some of us continue to do it willingly. Right. You put those hearts up there at the end of a sentence, at the end of a statement. After knowing that it's not right, you now are misleading other people to follow in your folly and in your foolishness. We're going to do one more, and then we're going to read some verses. Karma is said to be the god of love, sexual desire in Hindu culture. While the lotus flower represents both sexual fertility or rebirth and karma. On the left is pictured a symbol of karma, which is a heart being pierced by a trident. Its picture is a symbol of karma. This depiction is made to tell the story of karma, which is the Hindu and Buddhist belief that one's fate is decided through his own action and reactions. If y'all remember in a portion of The Matrix, when Neo was downstairs with the what was the name of the train conductor? You know who I'm talking about, because he had to go get the key maker. And when he was talking to the program, they were Hindu. Mm-hmm. You remember the husband and the wife and their daughter? Yes. And they were Hindu, and the first thing he began to talk about was love. Mm-hmm. And he said it's an expression, it's a word. And he began to basically explain certain things. Mm-hmm. I can't think of what his name, but he was going to the key maker, and he had to go to, what the man, Da Vinci? Mary Da Vinci. He had to get to him. But the train, he ended up getting cast down. And so in order for him to get there, he had to do something crazy. But they had to basically go and basically get him from the place he was. Now, once again, if you look at the culture, the people that was talking about love, that were down in the, what you call it, when they're down in the subway? Subway, thank you. They were the subway. And they were preparing to get on the train. And they were talking about love and it being a word. And he said, it's just a word. But you have to understand, even in that, everything has a purpose. Are y'all following me?
Yes.
So once again, they would say it's just a word, and so this is what you look at. Once again, they believe that the depiction that is made in the story of karma, which is the Hindu and Buddhist belief that one's fate is decided through his own action and reaction. Are you following?
Yes.
So once again, if someone decides to continue to do, then they say, well, whatever the fate is, it's your fate. If you don't, you don't. But you have to understand, you know how people always want to say karma is a sucker, or karma is, once again, this is what they're basically saying. We don't use karma. Are you understanding? Because once again, karma is said to be the God of love. So in actuality, if you remove the word karma, then you say love is. Karma is going to get them. No, in other words, you're saying love for them is going to be a payback because of the way they did me. They broke my heart and tore me up. So now when love comes back into their lives, this is what's going to be the reaction or the response because of how they did me. Once again, we can't follow up on all these things because we'll find ourselves outside of truth. And once again, I don't know about you, but I don't want to be outside of His truth.
That's right.
I don't want to be following something that is not mine. I don't want to be walking in witchcraft. I don't want to be walking in idolatry. I don't want to be walking in an abomination. I don't want to be promoting that what is an abomination and that what is idolatry in the eyes of Abba Yahuwah. So it's important, once again, look in your closet, clean out your closet, clean out your jewelry box, because you don't want these things found, these symbols in there. You want to get them out. Once again, it's important that we pay close attention. Even our clothes we wear, you put that on your body. Once again, it's not just jewelry, but it's even in the clothing arena. And you find them most, and I'm not saying this to be vulgar, but you find it most of the time on the things you have to put on close to your body, like your undergarments. Are you following?
Yes.
Once again, you have to understand why that is so. If it's a symbol and it meant immortality and sexuality, then why do you think they do that? Once again, it has a concept. It has a meaning. And so we don't want to be promoting these things. Somebody will say, well, if it's on my body and it's covered up, who would know? Yahuwah knows.
Right.
And that what it is birthed out of knows. And it's going, once again, and the enemy will use it to do whatever he can to basically bring you to your demise and to destroy you. The symbol that many have used for endearment and used as a means of, oh, it's harmless. It is not harmless. It is detrimental to our way of life, and it can destroy you because of what is attached to it. So once again, I leave you with this. Karma symbol. Karma is said to be the god of love and sexual desire in Hindu culture. While the lotus flower represents both sexual fertility or rebirthing and karma. On the left is pictured a symbol of karma, which is a heart being pierced by a trident. So they're telling you, once again, we know that this was even in the 1400s when this symbol was even being dealt with. They're showing us the impact and how powerful this symbol is and what it is being used for. This depiction is made to tell the story of karma, which is the Hindu and Buddhist belief that one's fate is decided through his own action and reaction. Just like that. I had to get rid of him too. So just like that. And so it's important once again, because even, I want to show this to you all. Hopefully you all can see this. Now, at first glance, you would think it's a heart. But look at that. That's a symbol of karma. That's a symbol of love. Once again, if you don't really look at it and pay attention to it, you would just think it's just a symbol. But look at it closely. It's the symbol of a heart. Ace, yes, ace is a heart too. Exactly. That's a heart symbol. So once again, it's very important that we understand and that we not be found in these things. Now, I want us to turn our attention to the book of Romaiah, or the scroll of Romaiah, chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. All right, let's read verse 1 and 2, please.
Romaiah chapter 12, verse 1 through 2. Coming from the NIV. Therefore, I urge you, brothers, in view of Yahuwah's mercy, to offer your bodies as living sacrifices, flesh pleasing to Yahuwah. This is your spiritual act of worship. Verse 2. Do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you'll be able to test and approve what Yahuwah's will is, his great, pleasing, and perfect will. And it is so.
And it is so. Now, once again, it's important that we understand. I beseech you, therefore, brothers, and he's not just talking about men. Now, you have to understand that's women too. Because, see, now, when you look at the different types of genes, the apple bottom is made like a heart. Once again, it's all about sensuality and trying to make a person sexy and alluring and also provocative. Mm-hmm. I believe that we can look nice and that you can look desirable without being, without looking in the manner that the world and society says you have to look. Because remember, you ain't trying to catch no man with your body.
That's right.
Even though you don't want to be looking like no potato either. Mm-hmm. I'm serious. Are y'all following me?
Yes.
I believe that we ought to look nice and clothes are to complement you regardless of what your body looks like. But when these things were made up, you have to understand the whole purpose of it was they knew they were going to find women that were going to put them apple bottom jeans on and they were going to make them real apple bottoms. Are y'all following me? And this right here was going to be another way and another a doorway to pull many of men out. Because of them wearing them and who they were wearing them around. Mm-hmm. Once again, are you following me? Yes. So you see these, and then the next thing you know, it became a major thing. But you have to understand, this didn't just come off the top of somebody's head. Everything that we see has a beginning, it has a root. And this was just something else, because you know, and I'm not being funny, but don't no Europeans wear no apple bottom jeans. You know why? It was geared towards us to always keep us away from walking in truth and adhering to the things of Yahuwah. That's the truth. Because if you keep us distracted as a people and keep us following up on fashion, we won't follow in truth. Because when you are a fashion trend person, you're going to be trying to follow the fashion, and instructions tells us not to do that. Are y'all following me? Yes. Once again, it's important that we understand how we are to govern ourselves. And it is so. And it is so. All right. Now he says that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, set apart, acceptable to Yahuwah, which is your reasonable service. To present your body means that anything you adorn it with or that you model on your body is going to be presented to Yahuwah as well. So that means if you wear something that is not presentable, then you can't present that to Yahuwah. And be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is great and acceptable and perfect will of Yahuwah. It's important that we understand that, because we can't present ourselves if we don't know how to. I've used this before, and I'm going to say it, and it's not for anybody's demise or to make fun of anybody. When we first came into truth, and it was us and a few other people that we were in truth with, and we would kind of talk with and deal with, and we would see their posts. A person that got so excited about coming into truth that on the Sabbath they cooked the pork roast. Now you have to understand, and it's comical, but it's sad because that Sabbath was not accepted because it had that which was not kosher.
That's right.
Not only that, but you're trying to present that which is an abomination on a day that is set aside and sacred to Yahuwah. So we can't do that. So once again, it's important that we understand these things, and it's serious. It's nothing to play with. It's nothing to laugh about. But we need to make sure that we are governing ourselves accordingly, and that we are making sure that we are not sporting these type of things for the enemy. And that we're not opening doors for others to desire to sport these things. Because the more people you have wearing it, the more the influence of this trend and this way of life will continue to be so for people. Are you following me? Very important. Very important. So we need to be careful and not be a model for those things that are not acceptable unto Yahuwah. Once again, I leave this with you, Romans 12, 1 and 2. I beseech you therefore, brothers, by the mercies of power, that you present your bodies. Once again, that's not just talking about the inside, that's talking about your body, this too, what you adorn it with, what you put on it. That's right. A living sacrifice, set apart, acceptable to Yahuwah, which is your reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world. Don't be conformed to this world just because it's popular and everybody's doing it doesn't mean that it's okay for everybody, for us to do it. Right. That's not our culture. Somebody say, well, even flowers, you have to be careful with the flowers you give out. That's right. Because roses are connected to gods and goddesses, especially that red one, that one that is, I'm serious, I have to admit, that is a gorgeous flower. There's something about them red roses, but them red roses have a history, and the connection is to goddess and goddesses. That's what they would use. So even with those, there are other flowers though, tulips and lilies and daisies and all those types of nice flowers that can be used to show endearment and affection. But once again, it's important that we be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of our mind. Renew, repair. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Of our mind, that we may prove what is great and acceptable and perfect will of Yahuwah. Until we do those things, we can't. So I want to encourage you tonight, once again, keep your head up, keep your shoulders square, and keep your heart and your feet in and upon the Torah, because we can't go wrong. And you have to understand, when we seek to do right, and we seek to know, are there any areas in our lives that are open for attack of the enemy, that are vulnerable, then Yahuwah will answer us. And sometimes it may not be what you want, but it's what we need. Right. Somebody may say, well, I don't see the relevance. You need to, because you may not be giving these things to somebody, but somebody may be giving it to you. And if you're not aware of what it looks like, you're being, the whole time, you're being seduced, and you're being coerced, and you're being lured into the trap of the enemy. So once again, it's important that we understand, and I pray that you not just receive the information, but that you pray about it. And that you go in and you do a thorough search and look in your house and look in your life to make sure there's no place for the enemy to reside. We have much more to cover, but we're going to stop here. And once again, I pray that Abba Yahuwah continues to open up your heart and continues to open you up and continues to lead you in His truth. I want to say to you once again, keep your head up, keep your shoulders square, and keep your heart and your feet in and upon the Torah, because you can't go wrong. I want you to remember that I am Prophet Sabrina Brown, also Moral 777. And I am the leader of Messengers of Yahuwah's Kingdom of Bread Belief Ministries. I want you to remember, here at Messengers of Yahuwah's Kingdom of Bread Belief Ministries, this is the place where
the Torah does the body excellent.
Until next time, may Yahuwah Baruch Atah and keep you in His shalom until we meet again. Also, I want you to remember that you've been touched by Champion TV, a place where the champions reside. And it is so.
And it is so.